Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is hautemesstom and thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you are new here, I'm amidst a 6-month no-buy, so I'm being critical not only of new makeup releases, but also makeup that already exists in my collection. It is Messmas, which is my version of posting 31 days this month of December. So if you are here amidst all of that, thank you for joining the craziness. We love and appreciate you. If you are new here and that content sounds good to you, would love to have you subscribe. Also, just know that I also have a Patreon where I post 2 additional videos, so if you already love me and just want to love me more, that's a good way to do it, and we also appreciate likes on this channel. My 6-month no-buy started because I was buying too much and I was like buying all of the new releases and I always wanted the new. And today, I'm going to prove to myself and you as to why we don't always need to buy the new thing. Because today we're going to talk about makeup that I lusted after, the new makeup releases that I lusted after over this year and have since completely forgotten about. What I did as I went through all of my anti-hauls and all of my new makeup releases, my new makeup nonsense bingos that I did this year, and I pulled out everything that I was like, ooh, that I, 1, didn't buy, and then 2, I'm not going to talk about in another upcoming video, which is, it's like a similar vibe, but it isn't the exact same vibe. It is different. So we have to categorize things appropriately if we're going to do multiple videos where we talk about these types of things. Let's jump right into it. I'll pop pictures of these things in case you also forgot about them. Or if you did buy these things and they worked out for you, I would love to hear about your experience with any of these items. Because remember, these are items that I was very interested in and then I like kaput, lost all interest in. So the first thing up is, I have to read this off here, Rebellious Rose Pure Color Envy Blush by Estee Lauder. Now, this came out earlier in the year, and it was like Estee Lauder, I remember just looking like a pillow, like a velvet pillow, and I thought, I want that velvet pillow. I want that little velvet pillow. What I did not realize at the time, and I remember talking about this on some video, I don't think I realized in that moment that it was a cream product. This might have been a Valentine's Day release, because I do remember going to a Nordstrom and going, I would like to see that in person. I don't think it came to stores. I think it was an online exclusive. So I could not buy it in store. And I will say this, that right after, this would have been, if it was Valentine's Day, which I'm pretty sure it was, like, or if it was released around Valentine's Day, that was like right after I quit Sephora. And something very interesting happened right after I quit Sephora. While I was working at Sephora, my love for makeup and beauty like had almost diminished completely. I had really fallen out of love with the process. And so what happened after I quit was like, I started wearing makeup for fun again. And I was like, oh my God, makeup is I just want to wear makeup all the time. I want to wear makeup all the time. Spoiler alert, I did not wear makeup all the time after that, but I did buy a lot of makeup immediately after leaving Sephora. But I also did tend to buy things that you couldn't buy at Sephora because I did do like some intense hauling at the end of my tenure at Sephora. So while I still had my discount. And I don't think this is something that was released at Sephora. I remember it being a Nordstrom exclusive, if I'm correct, and I could be wrong. I didn't do like research on these things. This is how my heart felt. And I remember at some point finding out it was a cream. I think I watched I don't remember whose channel I watched, but they had it. It was Michelle Wong. Was it Michelle? I feel like it was. And she like used it and I was like, I didn't know this was a cream. And so then my little like pillow velvet dreams like had melted away. But I wasn't watching that video in real time because I found Michelle in the summertime or closer to the summertime. I also did not consume beauty content on YouTube. I did a lot in like 2016, 2017. And then as I worked at Sephora, I consumed it less and less because I was being consumed by beauty at my work and it like wasn't fun for me anymore. So this year was like a lot of finding new creators for me. And like I'm saying for me. So like this is the year like I found Michelle Wong, Teresa is Dead, Emily Han, Hannah Louise Poston. These are all like people that I found just this year. I was watching Michelle review it later and then it was a cream. And then I was like, I remember watching, because it was an old video for her, but I was like going through her back catalog. And I remember her pulling that out and I was just like, oh yeah, I like wanted that so bad. Like I wanted it so bad. Like I went to a Nordstrom and was like, I gotta see it. Although the Nordstrom in Pittsburgh or the greater Pittsburgh area is like their beauty section, not all of it, but like no one was at the Estee Lauder counter. But also like COVID time is weird. Like it's the time where everyone should be helping you, but also the time where like no one seems to want help. Anyway, that's besides the point. I didn't end up buying it. I'm very happy I didn't end up buying it. I needed another cream blush. Like I needed a hole in my head. Like I have so much cream product in my drawer that is just like sitting there, and it's probably gonna all likely go bad before I get to it. All beautiful products that I want to have in my collection because I've been spending a lot of time recently really curating that, but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna be able to get through all. Like my collection is still so big, and I wear makeup not as much as some other creators here. Like I'm not wearing makeup every day, except for this month. Very glad I didn't end up getting that. The next thing that I really wanted to try and never ended up trying it. And now I feel like well, let's talk about it. It's the KVD The Good Apple Beauty Balm thing. Okay, this is twofold. I remember doing either a new makeup nonsense bingo or new makeup releases or something. I was talking about new makeup. I think it might have been my first one talking about new makeup this year. It had been like on Trend Mood. And I remember it popping up and I was like, I am so intrigued by this because it was like a balm it was promising full coverage. And I just thought to me, that's insane. Because when I think of a balm, if I'm thinking of like a beauty balm, if I'm thinking of a BB cream, something like that, it's more normally light coverage, medium at best. And so I was so intrigued by this. And so before it even launched, I was like wanting to be part of it. And then it blew up. Of all the products I could have guessed that would have blown up the way that one did, that would not have been it. Only because I remember thinking that I was like uniquely excited about it whenever I remember seeing the promotional. And I remember talking about it with my friend Tiffany. I was like, this is bizarre, right? Like, this is truly bizarre. Like, this release, like, I need to touch this. And I believe that Tiffany was still working at Sephora when this was released. Because I remember her telling me that she had touched it. And I don't think she ever put it on her face either. Anyway, such an intriguing product. It ended up being like both loved and hated. And it was like this whole thing. And there was like a dupe. And then I think it was Milani had a dupe. Anyway, it was going on and going on. And then I like forgot about it. And I feel like maybe the world forgot about it. But literally yesterday, someday recently, part of Teresa is Dead's Dead Miss, and I will link her channel down below if you somehow don't know about her, but you do follow me. She was talking about how it was like, she was doing a makeup release tag, and she pulled out the KVD Good Apple Balm, and she said she was on her third compact of it. And I was like, oh, that happened like this year. That happened this year. The KVD Balm happened this year. It feels like 7,000 years ago. But to be fair to me, I feel like a lot has happened in my life the latter half of this year. It's been very busy, emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, just a lot of things going on in my life the second half of this year that haven't, highs, low lows. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. But for me, like, to think that the beauty balm happened this year is like crazy to me. This was like the year of cream blush, and I remember when Melt launched their cream blushes, the makeup monster inside me was like, go get it now. And I remember, I think it was a new makeup nonsense bingo or something, but Tiffany and I talk about makeup all the time, so I'll probably will reference her quite a bit in the like my thought. But I remember talking about this with her, and she was like, "I'm so surprised you haven't bought one." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna do it. I just had to find the right shade." And the other thing was that the shades seemed like orange leaning, and I like if there's an orange blush, I want it. Like I want it. I've done a good job curating my collection to not have only orange blushes at this point, and so I have a little bit of more variety whenever I go in my blush drawer. But I remember thinking, oh, this is gonna be so for me. Oh, there was like different finishes. There was like a matte finish one, and there was like a shimmer finish. And I was like, oh my god, how am I gonna decide? And I remember being so excited. And you know what's so weird? You know what's so weird about this particular release is I never sought out a review. One never crossed my path. So I don't even know how well they were received. Were they even good? Can someone tell me were they even good? I think I watched Angelica Nyquist. Nivquist. My bad. I'm so sorry to her for mispronouncing her name. I was watching her do a declutter, and she like pulled them up and opened them, and she kept some, but she like got rid of some. And I was like, I can't tell where she landed on these. Like, she liked one of them enough to keep, but then was like, how beautiful are they? If you have a Melt Cream blush, how did it go? Do you still have it in your collection? I'm so genuinely curious. I literally have no idea. I have no idea how good they are. Time has passed, and then again, it was like something I hadn't thought about until I watched Angelica's video. And I was like, man, I really wanted those. And just never happened for me. But again, very glad cream blush, very glad that I did not end up getting anything more than whatever I did end up getting this year. Because there were cream blushes that made their way into my collection this year. Listen, shit happens. The Dior Backstage Face and Body Powder. I remember this popping up on I'm pretty sure it was a new Makeup Nonsense bingo, and I remember thinking, ooh. Oh. And this was right after I realized I kind of was into powder in a way that I didn't realize I was into powder. The way my makeup brain had flipped switches within the last year. Eyeshadow, for a lot of people, I think that this is still true for a lot of people, like eyeshadow is like the star of the show for them, is like the centerpiece of their makeup collection, and everything else is like, that's fine, but let's talk more about the eyeshadow. And I realized that I was like, let's talk more about foundation. Let's talk more about blush. Let's talk about powder. Let's talk about contour. Let's talk about bronzers. Like, that's like I'm all about, oh God. To quote Meghan Trainor, I became all about that base. No offense to Meghan Trainor. That's more of a response as to, I've been hanging out with a specific person too much because I referenced Meghan Trainor. But no slaps. The song No Slaps. I'm gonna give her dues, but All About That Bass was never my favorite song. Anyway, moving on. So when this powder came out, I was like, oh, I bet it's so finely melted. It was like one of those, it was like I was dreaming of this powder. I was like, oh, I bet it's so finely melted. I remember the description of it on Trend Mood being like so dreamy, like and I was like, oh, I bet it's so finely, I bet it's gonna be like so good. This came around the time where I was like, we need to slow down on like buying so much makeup, and specifically like powder. Just, it's one of those things that I do want to spend a lot of money on, but it's also like, oh, wow, I don't want to either. Very polarizing opinions coming from my brain about powder. And I remember, so I held out. I didn't buy it on launch. And I remember then seeking out, this was a powder that I sought out someone using, and I remember Michelle had it in a video and she like loved it, and I was like, oh my God. And I think that's the last time I thought about it. It never made its way into a cart, out of a cart. It's like it didn't even like cross my mind. I remember seeing that powder as I was going through my videos and what I was talking about. I was like, oh yeah, this was something that I truly wanted, that I haven't thought about really since I saw a review on it. So, you know, it comes and it goes. Now, if I would have bought that, I don't think I'd be mad at myself. But I think if I was reviewing I don't think I needed another cream. Well, I don't need any new makeup. Full stop. I'm learning that as I'm putting on a different face of makeup with different products every day this month. I'm learning that like the last thing I need is new makeup. But I love a beautiful powder. That's why there's so many powders in my makeup drawer, and a backup of one. It was limited edition, I thought. Okay, Chantecaille did me dirty by making it a permanent product right after I bought a backup, because I thought it was a limited edition item. My issues with Chantecaille aside, this seems like something that I might try in the future, unless a new powder comes and steals my gaze. But I could see myself, after working my way through some of my powders, that would be something that I would be very interested in. The Moira, so this one's like a little bit more cost effective, more inexpensive, is the Moira Ombre blushes. I remember thinking these were so stunning. These were so stunning. This was at the peak of my like, I love blush. I only want blush, 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 blush. I remember thinking they were so gorgeous, and I was like, they're so inexpensive. But I remember saying, I know nothing about this brand and I'm going to need a review. And then I don't think reviews ever came, and I didn't stumble across one organically, because sometimes that will happen. You'll see a new release and you're like, oh, I want to know more about that, but I don't want to buy it and be the one who's providing that information, which is more and more even into my like no buy, how I'm feeling about things, where like I'll see a new release and I'm like, you know what, I know someone I like on YouTube is gonna buy that and I want to see it, and then sometimes I just never end up seeing that video. But interestingly enough, watching Angelica declutter, she decluttered all of these. She said she did not like them. All of it comes full circle, doesn't it? But I remember really thinking that these were such a beautiful item that I was like, oh, I'd be more than happy to like snag one of those, and I never did. And you know, even though I think they were like $8 or $10, that's $10 I didn't spend on a blush that wouldn't have been loved in my collection, and that's a win. Colored Raine earlier this year released bronzers, and I love the Queen of Hearts palette. It is one of those things that anytime I go to a declutter, it's not a makeup palette, it's not a color story that reigns supreme in the forefront of my mind, right? It's never right here. It's never like I'm doing my makeup, what am I grabbing? It's obviously going to be Queen of Hearts. Like, that's never a thing that happens to me. It's never happened to me. Whenever I don't have a look in mind, it is the palette that I do default to, because I know it's going to like blend so well. Going to do what I need to do. It's such a beautiful palette. I can't speak to any of the other eyeshadow palettes because I never bought another eyeshadow palette from Colored Raine. The So Juicy palette, it was like just brights, and I was like, I'm good on brights. They came too late in the game for me for like a brights palette, and I was like, you know what, I'm good. But I was like, oh, if it's anything like their eyeshadows, these bronzers are going to be a hit. And the last time I thought about them was literally when I talked about them on my channel. I've seen Colored Raine post about them since, because they're one of the. I try not to like follow all of the makeup brands. That's something I used to do, but for my sanity and my wallet, I cannot be doing that. But Colored Raine is one of the brands that persisted. Like I still follow Colored Raine on Instagram, and they post about these bronzers all the time. Can't think of a creator, and also this doesn't mean that there aren't creators on this platform that haven't reviewed these and that didn't say anything about them. But you know, you kind of, YouTube is a very large platform. You stay in your lane with your creators that you normally follow. And so I never thought to seek out a review, and it never crossed my mind. And then as I was going through my old videos, I was like, oh yeah, whatever came of those. And like I had a real bronzer moment. Luckily, I did not buy many bronzers, because I would be really mad at myself had I bought all the bronzers that sparked joy in my brain when I initially, like that released dopamine whenever I saw them on Instagram, on Trend Mood, or, you know, Makeup Release Radar. But I am curious how the formula is. So if you did buy them, again, I would like to know if you bought any of these things, how they went for you. This one's a little more interesting because I had a moment with it. I had a moment with it on my channel. The Kaleidos Flower Punk collection. I distinctly remember this release. I remember being over the moon about this release. A green and pink color story. Grunge. This palette scratched so many itches for me. So many little itches for me. I remember it was when Tiffany was on a New Makeup Nonsense bingo. It's the first time she was on my channel. And it was sneak peeked that day. We got to see the palette that day. We talked about it. Like Tiffany was on her way to my house so we could do the New Makeup Nonsense bingo, and I like saw it. I was like, we have to talk about this. And so to be fair to this one, this one's a little bit different. I didn't forget about this completely. It released, and I was like, and I don't know if this happened during or after my no buy. It may have happened during, or it was like right before my no buy, because I duped the vibes. I did a dupe the vibes video, and I recreated the palette with stuff I had in my collection, because I definitely like have things in my collection that I could do this with. And this was whenever really the shift of my content for the latter half of the year was really starting, where I was like, I really want to use what I already have, really honed in what I really wanted to do. I remember duping the Vibes of that palette, and I remember using that palette that I had made for myself a handful of times, and I thought, this is a lot of fun, but I don't think I would use this as much as I think I would. And then after I put those shades, after I removed those shades from the palette I had made and put them back where they belonged, or back in my singles collection, I hadn't thought about that palette since. However, it's still something that when I see someone bring it out on camera, and this is unlike a lot of the other things I've said, I've seen so many creators use the Kaleidos Flower Punk palette. It still sparks joy. Even though it's not something, I know it's something that I don't need to have. It's something that it doesn't sit on the back of my brain as like, I need to go buy that. I need to go buy that. Because I really was trying the color story. Maybe it had to have been before my no buy. Because I think I was trying the color story and I was like, will I use this if I buy it? Spoiler alert, it probably, even if I loved it, and even if that whole couple weeks I had that palette put together, it wouldn't get used as much as I think it would have, you know, because just the way I use makeup regularly is not, no. It's a palette that like every time I think about it, every time it comes up, it still sparks a lot of joy. So I think Kaleidos did a great job with that palette, even though I don't have it, and even though I forget that it exists sometimes. But it's also something that doesn't exist in my collection at all, because it'd be worse if it was in my collection and I forgot about it. Back to bronzers, Victoria Beckham released her matte bronzer duo thing. And I thought to myself, oh my God, that is something I need to have. That's something I need. It's something I need to have. I said that. Like, I remember coming out, I was like, and I like had it in my cart, and I pulled it out of my cart, and I had it in my cart, and I was like, I need it. There is not a day in this world that should pass again without me owning this bronzer. Now this one lingered a little bit longer than some of the other things in my collection. More like the Kaleidos, where it was like, oh, I had it in my cart, I put it out of my cart, and then I think something that was happening congruently, why I didn't just pull the trigger on it, is because I had been in my project pan trying to pan a bronzer that I have had for 6 years. And it's the only bronzer I had for a very long time before some other bronzers came into my collection. My brain was like, you can't even use a bronzer you've had for 6 years. What nerve do you have to bring in another bronzer? And at that point, I had already bought the Tom Ford bronzer and I really enjoyed it. So I was just like, why would I need this? And so I talked myself out of it, but I'm pretty sure Victoria Beckham posted about it, like the beauty brand posted about this the other day, and it popped up at like, it was like the top of my feed when I opened up Instagram, and I thought, oh yeah. It was like a hunger that I could not fill for a while, and I didn't buy it. It's not in my collection. But you know, another thing, I don't know, you may not have caught this. I don't remember what video I was talking about. It was when I was adding up how much I spent on beauty the first half of 2021. I opened up, I have a quad. I have one of the SMokey eye bricks. I opened up and the mirror just fell out. Like, it wasn't broken. It just like popped, the mirror just popped out. It was the wildest thing. And so now I feel a little bit weird because the compact that the bronzer comes in looks very similar to the SMokey eye brick. It might be bigger. I hope it's bigger because the SMokey eye bricks are very small, credit card small. And that wouldn't be big enough for a bronzer. I'd be very dissatisfied if that was how my bronzer came in. So since my compact broke in my SMokey eye brick, I don't trust this compact because that had no longevity because the Victoria Beckham SMokey eye brick came into my collection this year and the mirror just said no. Said no more. I cannot hold on anymore. So very disappointing and makes me second guess buying Victoria Beckham a lot just because of that. And it's, again, I can still use the product, but the way I opened it once and the mirror just fell out leaves like a really bad taste in my mouth. And about the brand, like, I probably will try more things from Victoria Beckham because I just do want to try it because I have a lot of intrigue and like, I'm a Spice girl. Who are we kidding? Like, where's the Spice bus? It's back there. You can't really see it, but there's a Spice buzz. I'm really glad that this one kind of left my brain because I don't need it. I don't need it. I have so many beautiful bronzers. I wouldn't have needed it. It would have just gone so unloved. The Patrick Ta, whatever it's called, eyeshadow palette. The way this gripped my insides when I saw it, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Because I am like much more into neutrals now than I was at the beginning of the year. It was the first neutral palette since my brain had changed thoughts about color and what I want to wear. And so it was the first neutral palette that came by, and I was like, oh my God. It made neutrals like exciting to me. Again, and just the beautiful textures, like I have a cream having, it just was like, it seemed very innovative to me. And not like, you know, you can only be so innovative, so I'm not gonna try to give it that much credit, but it just seemed like something that I was like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, this is what beauty can be. I had it in a cart. Patrick Ta's website did like has a 15% off coupon the first neutral, and I had the 15% off, and I was like, this baby is mine. Can't remember why I didn't buy it. Can't remember like why there was no trigger pulled, because that seems like something that I would just like easy breezy just, and then whatever feeling I had in my stomach settled. I remember like maybe a few months after it was released, or no, it was maybe relatively close after it was released. I remember watching Lauren May Beauty review it, and then also duped the palette with her own collection. And the palette that she duped it with was so much more beautiful and intriguing. And I was like, oh, I don't need that. And then I like simply have forgotten about it. And now it's the end of the year. And had it come into my collection, how much would have I touched it? Probably not much at all. And I think if I had bought it and then saw Lauren's video, I'd have been very mad at myself. Very mad at myself. Because a lot of the like beautiful textured shades that Lauren was bringing into her version of the palette were things that I had or had very similar things to that I would have liked better than the Patrick Ta anyway. So very good that it didn't come into my collection, but the burning and yearning was there. I would say that this was one of my stronger yearning and burnings, like it was like almost happened. Like it almost was like before I could even think about it that the Patrick Ta palette was gonna come to me. The seas have calmed and I don't have it and everything's okay. Okay, I only have a couple more things I want to talk about. The MAC Tempting Feet palette. Now this one, unlike the other ones where it was like they were triggered by a couple things, like my desire for them was triggered by a couple of things. This one, it was more out of like genuine intrigue. It was beautiful. The art on the palette was beautiful. And I just remember thinking, is MAC gonna break my no buy? Like, cause I definitely was already in my no buy, but I remember it coming up on a New Makeup Nonsense Bingo, and I was like, oh my God, this is like gorgeous. And it is gorgeous. But much like all MAC releases is that I saw it and then like no one talked about it. And I think remember thinking to myself, like, when my no buy is over, I'm gonna go get that MAC palette. No, I'm not, because I hadn't even thought about it since the release, and I think that was a fall release. I don't think it wasn't even that long ago, but I was like, I'm gonna buy it. If it's still around, I'm gonna buy it whenever my no buy is over. Like, I'm gonna buy it. And the way that MAC had a hold on me with this one palette, I just thought it looked so stunning. And again, I have no idea how it performed. I've had a couple MAC Shadows singles in my collection, but they were in the plastic thing, and I like cannot be bothered. Could not be bothered to touch them. And I remember thinking they were okay, but also my skill level has improved since I started. This is like right when I started makeup. My skill level has improved immensely since I started doing my makeup. And two, my preferences in eyeshadow have greatly changed, so I might like them now and didn't have like the skill set at the time to use them in a better way. So I have no idea how I feel about MAC shadows, really is what it boils down to as I'm talking to you. This is another kind of like beautiful, neutral, but interesting color story that was like very intriguing to me. Like could not get enough of it until apparently I did and then forgot about it. Charlotte Tilbury's Smoky Eyes Are Forever, the holiday release palette for this year. Something happened. I saw it and I was like, oh yeah. Charlotte You've done something to me. You've done something to me. You've done something to me. How dare you? How dare you? Because I'm generally disinterested in Charlotte Tilbury as a brand as a whole. But there was something about this palette that, like, the textures, and I've only ever heard good things about Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow palettes. And this is one that I sought out reviews on. Like, I watched Teresa talk about it on her channel. I guess that was it. I watched Teresa, but then I also watched Hannah's video. And this is when Hannah's content started really coming into rotation for me. I watched Hannah's video where she did the, like, I don't need this because of all the other beautiful things I have in my collection. And that is, like, more the mindset I lean into now, is when something is released, I'm like, can I make that? Can I, like, do that with what I already have? And, like, 9 times out of 10, the answer is going to be yes. And it's probably going to be, like, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be, like, better than what I could have imagined whatever this new thing would be. I was like, this is going to be the first thing that I buy from, like, I was like, if it goes on sale, like, on the other side of the new year, it's coming. I had decided that. I remember seeing it and be like, on the other, when I'm out of this no buy, I'm rolling up to wherever it's on sale. Because I was like, it has to be on sale. I'm going to buy that palette. And then after that initial brain blast, I haven't thought about it since. After I watched Teresa's review, and Teresa, I believe, gave it a positive review. After that, I was like, I'm good. And I was going through my videos that whenever it popped up, and I was like, oh my God, I remember, like, wanting this so bad. And it was when Tiffany was here for the second time doing a anti-haul with me. The way that you can have something up in your noggin and you like, this is the most important thing in the world, and then it just disappears, and it wasn't, and it isn't, and makeup never is. So the last thing that I want to talk about is the Patrick Ta Major Headlines Blush Palette. I remember when this popped up on my anti-haul, and was I wearing this shirt? I think I might have been wearing this shirt. I remember going, oh, like I did like this really dramatic thing when I saw it, because it made my brain go, oh my God. And in the anti-haul, I had to talk myself out of it. That was also around the time that my channel size, like, doubled, because Hannah had shouted me out. Thanks, Hannah. I'm still riding the Thanks Hannah train. Always riding the Thanks Hannah train. I will always and forever be grateful for Hannah Louise Poston for not only that, but her content as well. So a lot of you viewers, subscribers who are new to me, we talked a lot about this blush palette. It was like, there was popping off in the comments. A lot of us were having thoughts and feelings about this particular, and I remember us like talking about it, and then I was like, oh my God, someone's gonna buy it, and they're gonna tell me it's like the best thing, and I'm gonna miss out on it. And then, no, I don't think I've seen anyone talk about this since it came out. And that's interesting, because Patrick Ta is like normal. I feel like Patrick Ta gets the clicks. People are interested in the brand in general. Like, it's one of those brands where it's like, even though people might not be buying it, it's a brand that they have, like, they're like, eyes on the brand. Like, is it good? Is it cool? Because I feel like Patrick Ta has like cool person vibes. Like, you're cool if you use Patrick Ta. But then no one's discussed it since. I haven't seen anyone talk about it. And so my brain forgot about it, because the hype was only in my brain, and it's gone. It's gone. The thesis. I guess your thesis statement goes at the beginning. The conclusion, that comes at the end. It's literally like the conclusion. The conclusion to this is, if you are someone who's on a low buy or a no buy, or if you're just someone in general who is looking to like, spend less money, get less got by consumerism and makeup new releases and newness, is that when time passes, you will forget about it. And the thing is, and if you didn't forget about it, very likely you're still going to be able to buy it. Like, if you're still thinking about it 6 months from the time where your brain goes, ooh, 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 and like all of your synapses are like flying at 1,000 miles an hour. Is that like, does that sentence make sense? Roll with it. If you're still Jimmy Neutron brain blasting every time the idea of this item comes up, you'll be able to buy it. And like, if it was limited edition, you'll also learn to live without it, because you already have been. So just sit on it. Sit on it for a while. Sit on it, and even if you need to make a list as things make your brain blast. Every time something makes your brain go, wah, Write it down. Keep it in your notes app on your phone. And then as you add to that brain blast list, always go back to the top, to that oldest item and go, does that still make me like scream when I think about it? And if it does, go ahead and buy it. Go ahead and buy it, because clearly it's something that itch you need to scratch. And you've already saw that sat on it. Did you look at reviews of it? Like, did you have any follow-up? Because had I bought any of these, what would have happened was that the quality could not be good, because I didn't follow up. I was like, is it good? I have no idea. We couldn't tell you if it was good, because a lot of them I don't have I have no idea, like what, the Victoria Beckham bronzer, I have no idea how it performs. And then I would have bought them and they would sat in my collection and gone unloved, because that was how easy it was for me to forget about them without them being right. And that's like easier said, because they never were in my collection, and like they could have been the best thing for me, and I just don't know it. But that's another thing, is I don't know that, and I don't need to know that, because I have a lot of beautiful things in my makeup collection. And I'm going to go ahead and bet that you also have a lot of beautiful things in your collection that you can use, that are going to bring you joy and cost you $0 extra. They might have cost you some money at some point, but today, if they're already there, you've already spent that money. Go ahead and enjoy those items. And I keep looking down, because I'm looking at my makeup drawers. I'm like, girl, I see you. Like, I know there's some stuff in there that we haven't touched in a while, and that probably will scratch that same itch. So that's that. If you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and give this video a like. And also, if you want to see more content from me, more of this anti-consumerism, thinking a little bit more before we buy content, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're feeling real juicy, don't forget that I have a Patreon. It's all linked down below. I think that's all of the stuff that I need. Oh, also my Instagram is there's a link tree. If you go to the link tree, that's where you find my Instagram. You can follow me there. Basically, the Instagram right now is exclusively sneak peeks of looks that I'm doing for Messmas, because I'm a little bit ahead of recording for Messmas. So that's what they're going to end up looking like. And I don't know if that's bad juju, bad mojo, bad content creator behavior, but it's what I'm doing. So don't forget to follow your hote. I still can't say it with a straight face. Follow your hote, and you will find me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Friend.